Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Four Letter Nerd. It's a Hyrule Geekix Unlimited production. I'm the host for this month. Shout out to my Scorpios and Sag, I guess. Scorpios, it's your boy Mayhem Mike. Don't worry, I'm gonna go into what my name means just a second. Quick update. Burgie, love you, bro. Stop filing for unemployment. You haven't been here for 3 months. We don't know who you are at this point. Cat, stay blessed. Mwah, mwah. Today, we have a special show. But first, I got to bring in the guests. First of all, we got this man who always calls me a hater. He is literally a thorn in Mia and my side. It's the one, the only, Ra Sun
Boom.
God.
Look on this right underneath you. Yes, perfect. Yeah, you get your own banner. There's your banner, sir. Enjoy. Yes.
So anyway, I decided to remove him out. We have a special guest right now, of course. I'm going to let her introduce herself, but we call her Allie. Allie, how's it going over there?
Hey guys, I'm Allie. It's good. I mean, can't complain. I have the dog in behind me, but it's good. Not going to be happy with my plane ride tomorrow, but I'll be okay.
Where are you going, if you don't mind me asking? Where's the plane ride going?
So I'm actually heading out to Rhode Island to participate in Rhode Island Comic Con there, where I met actually a lot of the people that are your co-hosts. So I met Reggie, Kat, and Burgie, all at Colorado Springs Comic Con, and they're like my con family. And so now I'm
Ray
showing up.
All right. Well, hi Ray once again. Listen, that sounds amazing. I hope you have a good time. I hope you do some new cool things. I hope you get some good autographs. I know it can be pretty hectic. What time is your flight tomorrow?
5:25 in the morning, Colorado time.
Yikes! Ugh, I'll send a beer or something.
Please tell me you're leaving out of the Springs and not DIA.
No, I'm leaving out of DIA.
Oh, that means you gotta be up at 3 and on the road by like 3:30. Oh my!
I feel like
I have TSA pre-check.
Oh, okay. I feel like for early flights, you should automatically have a Stone Cold Steve Austin beer thrower randomly, or instead of beer, because maybe you don't want to drink beer in the air flight. It's coffee, but it's sealed, and you just do one of these, and he's just like, "Yeah, and you got it." I mean, that'd be amazing.
It's okay. The person I'm flying out with to Rhode Island, she has drink coupons, so
amazing. Yes.
Yo, I'm sorry. Did you say drink coupons?
Let's not go into that.
Yes, so that I don't have to pay for them.
Oh, okay. Listen, thank you very much for joining us today, Allie. Reggie, I don't know why you're here. I mean, I feel like you okay. Anyway, this month, I didn't even do anything. This month, the Four Letter Nerd is celebrating Native American Heritage Month. The best way I can say this is November marks National Native American Heritage Month. It's an opportunity for every person in the nation to reflect on our shared nation's history. And I love that. And it says honor the tribal nations and tribal citizens who called this land home long before the United States became a country. And I love that because, you know, too long do we kind of skip over the people of Native American descent who are currently Native Americans and tribal citizens here. And we're just like, yeah, you know, they were there, but we need to honor them in every which way that we can. So for this week, even though Kat and Burgie have left us to do bigger things, all right, we'll come and get them. Reggie is going to start us off in our native quest and honoring the Native Americans.
All right. Yes, sir, I will. So today's show, we're going to be talking all about the Native Americans in geekdom. So I'm a comic book nerd, and like literally there were 3 names that jumped out at me as soon as I thought of this. And really? I'm going to go with my top 2 because I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to talk about this one. Oh, I can do this one. Oh, I can do that one. Ooh, I literally had to stop myself. Granted, there's going to be a very big theme going on here, and I'm okay with that. But I'm going to start us off with our geekery with Mr. What did you do? Oh, I did that. Yeah, my bad. I did that. So I'm going to start us off with Forge. This is a character I got to know all throughout the 90s, shortly after he was introduced. If you don't know who it is, this is Forge. This is a Native American mutant with the power of literally technology. If he can think of it, he can make it.
Yep.
Period. So the cybernetic leg, he made it. The cybernetic arm, he made it. If you're familiar with X-Men and you know this term of the danger room, he made it. So all of this was made by Forge.
Yes.
He is a technological genius, and he's just one of those characters that I just all have always enjoyed throughout the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Different writers have portrayed him in different ways. He's been, the stoic standalone guy. He's been the government agent. He's been the proud native son. Depending on who's writing the comic at the time is depending on how they write Forge. But one thing that they always keep key to him that is always important to him is his Native American roots. And with Forge, he was originally created by Chris Claremont. So if you know comics, Chris Claremont is that dude. Like most of X-Force and X Factor were made by this guy. So yeah, he's in good keeping with the people that were created around this time.
Yes.
So yeah, it was always a good thing. Let's see, he's been on the X-Men, he's been on X Factor, he's been on X-Force, he's been on what is that one team? It is
X-Men Blue.
No. Actually, yeah, he was on Blue for a short while before he got mad at everybody and left yet again, which is what he does. I don't know why, but Forge does get angry at the regular X-Men and just like, I got to dip, and then he dips. But that's
Really quick, you're flashing a YouTube channel on the bottom. What's the YouTube channel for, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, you want to know about the YouTube channel? Well,
That's
here,
right.
let me show you.
And obviously we have to shout out Forge's native roots. It's from I believe I'm saying it correctly, Cheyenne Nation. So that's where he's paying he's from, his origin, and who he pays homage to. So if you honestly look at Forge, he just like he always, even though he's a mutant, it's kind of like he doesn't trust everybody. It's like a kind of cautious and hey sweetheart. There's kind of like a cautious
what has happened to his people, and he's like, not only am I Native American, not only am I a mutant,
yes,
I am both, and I see what the government does to people that look like me, and sound like me.
So it's kind of like an accurate portrayal of what's going on in this world today. It's a social accurate portrayal. Go ahead.
They like to push him to the side and say, yes, you are there, you are important, but don't talk now, which is not the way that they need to be treated at all. Hi, babies.
She's the one bothering me in the background. Sorry.
That's A-okay, sir. Life happens. But yes, the websites that I'm flashing right now are right here. This is Native Brown Media, a Facebook page. It was shared to us by a super secret host that may be showing up later.
Yes. So definitely go check that out. All right. This was dope. We're going to talk about it a little bit later because I definitely want to bring that up and what it entails.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir.
Can you show us? Do you have another pick for us by any chance, Reg?
I got all kinds of picks. Sir, I have like 5 picks. I literally had to stop myself from putting them all in here. Okay. I got my 2 main ones and then my 2 honorary picks. All right. Just to let you know.
Well, we got some time. Let's go through them, shall we?
Right. All right. So Forge is from the Cheyenne Nation, for the First Nations people. And he really does like to connect back with his roots. And most of the times when he leaves the X-Men is when he goes back to his native homelands and talk to his people there and just reconnect himself to everything that has come before him, because he needs to reground himself. Because if you read X-Men comic books, they're across the world. They're all over the solar system. They're all over the galaxy. They're all over inner space. So you're like, you know what? Let me connect back to my roots. I shouldn't be out here flying like this. Let me go do my thing. And there are times he is at odds with the X-Men because of what he believes as a mutant and native person himself. He's like, that is not the way we should be doing things. And there have been times where he has gone against the X-Men and he literally pulls a Batman and says, oh, you're this person and that person. This is your weakness. Goodbye. Oh, you're that person. Here's your weakness. Goodbye. And he's literally just soloed the X-Men like twice.
So are you saying that there's power in the local people, the people who were here first, the nation's first people, if they ever were to rise up against us?
Actually,
yes.
Yes, you will. There is.
And you know what? Rightfully so.
Right.
Ali, really quickly, what do you know about Forge? What do you think?
I actually had no idea about Forge. I'm going to be real honest. My love for comics only recently started getting out of hand. I watched a lot of the old X-Men animated TV show, but beyond that, I didn't really do a whole lot.
Okay.
With comics. My geekdom didn't really start going until like 2008 with Iron Man in theaters, and then I was like,
RBJ.
No shame.
I'm gonna click dive off into the realm of comic books. So
Okay.
now I'm thoroughly obsessed. So I still got a lot of learning to do when it comes to comic book knowledge.
Well, if you ever decide to go down the journey I went through, about 9 years ago, I bought and downloaded a 22 gig comic from X-Men, giant size X-Men, all the way up until X-Men Gold, which I think is about 30, if not 40 years of comics that I read in like 2.5, 3 months. So if you decide to go that route, let me know. Thank you. Reginald, let's keep this show going. What you got for me?
Yes, sir. So my next one that I've got on our list is Mr. James Proudstar, the Warpath.
Yes.
And he was one of my favorite characters out of the original X Factor because originally he just showed up to make up for the loss of his brother, which that shouldn't really be your motivation to join a group, but that was his group. That was his reasoning for joining the group, because his brother, lo and behold, giant size X-Men is not the first set of X-Men. There was a set of X-Men before that Charles wiped the entire world's memory of.
Yep.
Except for this gentleman right here. So he's like, you know what? I want to get my revenge. Oh, what's that? The Xavier Institute has a new class opening up for New Mutants. Hint, hint. Comic title. Let me join that. And then they're like, oh, you're the little brother of Thunderbird. He's like, yeah, cool. Well, all right, cool. We got you. But secretly, when he joined them, he was working with the Hellions, a.k.a. the group of non-Charles liking people run by the Hellfire Club, most notably run by the White Queen, Emma Frost.
Yes.
So he was technically a spy, and then until he realized that his brother did pass away in a very heroic and honorable manner, because he literally thought that Xavier just would send the team out on suicide missions just to get him killed. And he's like, I'm not about that. Let me get my revenge. But by working with X Factor, he learned that's not how things happen. That's not how we do things.
Right.
And then shortly thereafter, graduating, he decides to go, hey, that guy from the future has some really cool things that he's got going on. I'm going to go join him. Hops on force with the original X-Force, led by Cable, which was literally the New Mutants leaving Xavier Institute and going to hang out with Cable. And basically, it was like the current X-Force, where they did the things the X-Men don't do. But, but he was always he was like Forge. He was always one to keep his grounding with where he came from.
Okay.
Like, he didn't get upset and pissy with the team as much as Forge did, because thankfully X Factor got along a lot better than the X-Men. And if you know the X-Men, you know they love to end fight more than anything. All
right. I'm going to step in real quick. First of all, can you tell me what First Nation is he representing?
Not Proudstar. I'm sorry. James Proudstar is coming from, let's see, I got my notes here.
Apache.
Is it? Are you sure? Yes, he's from the Apache Nation. Thank you, sir. Look at you. Don't need notes. Okay. Look, do you know how much X-Men knowledge I have stuck in here?
I can only imagine, amongst the other cobwebs of information that you have. So anyway, second thing is, do you think that he represents a more modern day look of Native American, an aspect of Native American culture? Okay.
Originally, no, he did fit in with that old school stereotypical look of tassels and banners and all this, but his new look is more streamlined. And like this was his second design right here. I had to throw this in here because I used to have this card. Shout out to Fleer for making these X-Men cards that were just the craziest art I'd ever seen at the time. And but his new stuff, like right here.
You know what's crazy?
He's got the colors of his nations. He's got what some people consider the traditional weapon.
Yes.
But this is his way. He loves this knife. Like the knives, those are his thing. He's got that enhanced speed, that enhanced strength, that durability, the jumping,
like, agility, reflexes,
the agility, like
regeneration. He's got flight.
The senses.
So
it's hard to catch this. He's like on
Mhm.
par with Logan, except for smell. Like his hearing is on point.
I don't
His
know if I
sight
agree
is
with you
on
on that
point.
one. Who is on point with Logan though? I mean, granted, I would argue every time Logan jumps in a fight,
Craven,
he's always getting beat up. Like he's always getting beat back. You know what I'm saying? But Craven,
because he's holding himself.
Craven,
You heard me, Craven the
Craven the
Hunter.
Hunter.
Craven the Hunter.
Are you talking
He
about senses
sneaks
or
up
fight
on
ability?
Spider-Man. Spider-Man
Yes,
with spider senses.
sir.
He sneaks
Sir.
on that man.
Sir. First of all,
Sir.
hold on. Let me highlight this because I think this.
Word. Go ahead.
Greg says no one. You know what? If
Ooh.
Greg could come to the computer real quick so we can have a conversation of amongst nerds, I would like to debunk this mystery. First of all, those knives are vibranium bow knives. This gentleman is very capable. If I'm not mistaken, he's just really super strong and really skilled as a hunter. You know, I don't think he has any other specific powers. That doesn't mean he's not dangerous at all. That's not to take away from who he is and what he does. Okay. That said, right? Put a pin in that. See, even Allie had to go and check on it. You know what I'm saying? I understand that. Wolverine, although toned down a lot, is a generational fighter of multiple levels of combat and fighting styles. He also has peak human fitness. He has regenerative skills. He has his senses are crazy. If he was in the intent to kill anybody, with the exception of Spider-Man, because Spider-Man will give him a run for it, but due to spider sense, they're dead. They're dead. In fact, they're so dead. There's even a book called Wolverine Kills the Marvel Universe. You know what? There's not a book for anyone else besides Deadpool, Thanos, and I'm forgetting one more. But we'll come back.
Probably
to that.
Death herself
is another. Either way, they've got to be overpowered. You're lying to yourself. This man is great, but he's not that great to beat Wolverine. And I can't wait till they.
I didn't say he was going to beat Wolverine. I said he is just below Wolverine. Below.
You know what?
We can agree.
You know what?
No,
you know what?
You know what? No. I'm not even.
I'm pretty sure that you just said that he could beat Wolverine. So
I didn't
listen.
I said he is
I
below Wolverine.
I love Native American people. I will give them the props all day, every day, as they deserve it. You understand? This character right here is not it. And arguably, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's weaker than his older brother. Well, to an extent he was, and then they kind of boosted him up. He's not beating Wolverine. Not Wolverine's got plot armor and amongst other things. The man was sealed in adamantium and he came back. Okay.
You know that was an Infinity Stone, but yeah.
I'm tired of you. Can we move on?
We can move on.
Shout out to the Apache Nation. I think his character, to an extent, is a great representation of mix of the old and modern day outlook of the world. You know, people tend to think Native Americans in general, first of all, they do the wrong thing and they call them Indians. That's not correct. Second of all, they generally call the men very hot-headed. They're very proud people. And sometimes being proud comes off as standoffish, but they're not. And Warpath, Mr. Proudstar himself, is a very reasonable and honorable guy. He just doesn't take malarkey. So just keep that in mind when you read the comics and you go over the characters that we brought up. Go ahead, Reg. I know you got some more.
All right. So I'm gonna go through the next ones really quickly because I've already spoken on one at length on one of our other shows. But next up is gonna be, of course, one of my favorites, Miss Echo. Yes. Granted, I didn't learn about her until the Hawkeye show, but what I did learn about her, it intrigued me. It brought me in. I read 2 complete series about her, so I'm a fan. And for the shortest while, she was the follow-up to Hawkeye as Ronin because her skills were that good. Actually, she's probably a better fighter than Clint. No hate on Clint. Clint's a good fighter, but I think Echo is better. That's just me.
That's actually something I can agree with. I'm gonna be real honest. Echo grew up in that martial arts life, whereas Clint was always he was on the range. There's a reason he's the greatest archer ever. But Echo, her field and her field of advantage is going to be when she gets up and close and personal with you. She is going to kick your ass.
Yeah, speak on it. Right? Speak on it. What nation does she represent? What First Nation does she represent?
Let's see. We've got her from. Are they going to tell me? Not there.
I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to look it up. Cheyenne.
They don't have it on freaking Wikipedia. I do apologize. They literally do not have it.
It's the Cheyenne Nation.
Oh, there it is at the very top. My apologies.
I don't know.
The Cheyenne Nation.
It's the Cheyenne Nation.
Look at you. Did you look this up beforehand? Did you look this up? I think you did. But anyway, I'm gonna cut you off there because we got somebody special that's about to show up. I'm
yes. Saying. Wait, hold on. Before you do that, I just want to argue and say,
okay,
that Echo is technically better than Ronan. She's technically supposed to be the lady, oh my God, Taskmaster. But that said, because remember, she's got
photogenic memory.
There you go. I couldn't remember the damn thing. I apologize. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to bring over a great friend of mine. I'm gonna just hype her up a little bit. Renowned actress, excuse me. Great mentor and coach, great activist, a descendant of the nation herself, the First Nation, excuse me, my friend, Miss Les Fry.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Les.
Hi, Les.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you so much for inviting me. I am so sorry that I'm a little late. Of course, I'm doing a show right before this, and I did not feed my clouder. I have a clouder of cats here, so I didn't feed them. Okay. So I had to run and feed them very quickly. And you are getting me without makeup, but I wanted to show these cool glasses off.
Madam, you do not need makeup. You are presentable as is.
Yes,
y'all talk such nonsense.
No, it's the truth. You know you look good.
Yeah, like the boss said, beyond beautiful.
I'm so glad to see y'all's faces. You all understand that, well, Mayhem I see all the time, but you all I have not seen face to face up front, just conversation over social media, and I am so happy to see your faces.
Yes, ma'am. It's good to find. Well, I see your face on most Wednesdays, so you know I do see you, but you don't see me. But yes, I do appreciate seeing you here on the show tonight.
Oh, and Mia, happy to see you too. She's so quiet.
I'm Allie. I'm not Mia.
Yeah.
Yes, that's our friend Allie. Mia's in the background because she doesn't want to be on the show.
So I want to tell you something really funny. I was like, Mia looks so different, but I'm just gonna go ahead because.
Yes,
I swear, I was trying to figure out why Mia was looking different. I was good when Mia always has makeup on and her hair is a different color. So I was just like,
nope. Number one, I never do makeup. My students already know that about me. And number two, I didn't even do my hair.
Okay, so we're in this all right tonight, honey. Well, but Mia, I miss you. I miss your face.
Thank you.
But I'm glad Allie's here.
Thank you. So really quickly, I want to answer this question. We're going to move forward. Well, it's not a question. I believe there's going to be a series for Echo. I hope so. I think Echo can be.
There are plans.
I think Echo can be a really great character if they develop her. We'll see what they do. As I've talked before, it's more of a phase for women and empowering women with Disney for the last phase 4. Could they have done a better job overall? Yes. But I'm still happy that we got it, and it was still as impactful as it is. That said, Echo is the Lady Taskmaster, and she's pretty badass. Okay.
Can I say something?
Yes, of course.
Echo is also Indigenous.
Yes, we were talking about that, but go ahead, please.
And they don't have any Indigenous representation as of yet. And if you're Indigenous, honey, right now, you're on fire. So I'm just saying, we've got to see that representation. We're not seeing it.
Les, would you mind telling us a little bit about Indigenous people, as you are, I believe, a descendant of the First Nation? Would you be able to kind of go into it briefly, if you feel comfortable?
Of course I feel comfortable talking about that.
I know I kind of put you on the spot. I apologize.
No. I could do a whole thing about being Indigenous and being a descendant of Indigenous people. But my family, they are Choctaw and Catawba, which those are Southeastern natives, people that lived in the Southeast. Most of them have people who live in Oklahoma right now that were marched during the Trail of Tears. Phenotypically, I look and represent as and have been living the experience of someone who is African American or Black. But I want something. I want to demystify people here, misleading beliefs here that um, as long as you have indigenous blood running in your veins, you are indigenous.
Yeah. Okay.
And don't let anybody tell you that you're anything less than that, because
Yes.
by not denying that side of yourself, you're also causing death to a whole nation of people that existed here before Europeans got here. So I think that if that is something that you want to tap into, reconnect to, do it respectfully, yes. And also learn about your people, learn what they did, learn their land based practices, learn their language, learn all of those kind of things. But that is what my family is. And like I said, I could go into a whole big, long, extensive discussion about that. It would be a whole show,
Okay.
a big debate we can have about that too, as well.
Okay. Okay.
And because there are different kinds of people that I would identify as Black Indians walking around here, but are they really?
Oh.
So
okay. Well, okay. We're gonna come back to that. Thank you very much for sharing. Once
You're
again, thank you for
welcome.
being here. We gotta go forward, and we're gonna finish with Reggie's picks. We're gonna go with Ali. I got a pick that I think is worth mentioning, and then Les, we want you to talk about your picks. Okay.
Oh,
Okay. Reggie, take us
Yes.
away.
Yes, sir. All right. So Echo was my second honorable mention, my or first honorable mention. My second one was something that popped into my head as I was going through because I'm such a big Marvel fan, and it clicked. I'm like, wait a minute, what about Redbone? That song is in everybody's conscious and
Right.
subconscious.
Right.
If you've watched Guardians of the Galaxy at least once, that song is in your head.
Okay.
And it's not getting out. And before I really looked into it, I'm like, yeah, that's a really great song. And then I looked into it, I'm like, wait, that's a completely Native American band, and they were number one in America with this song.
Yep.
Shout out to Redbone. That's all I got to say.
All right. Well, this was amazing. You've given us a litany of First Nation people, honestly, from the Marvel universe, both male and female, as they would identify. Obviously, even some real life musicians, a band that was number one for a long time. I don't know how many weeks. I'm gonna have to look into that. So that goes to show you that they are very much present and very much important in our lives, not in just in theory and comics. So with that being said, I do want to let Ali, who's go next and show us our picks. Are you ready, Ali?
I'm ready.
All right, I can't wait. So can we get her picks up, or Reggie, her first pick?
Of course.
So when Mia told me that we were going to be talking about Indigenous characters in Geekdom, two things really popped in my mind. And the first is going to be Stargate SG-1. First off, Stargate SG-1 is going to be one of my favorite all-time shows. It's tattooed on my back for a reason.
Yes.
But I want to first recognize that we live on stolen land. First and foremost, we live on stolen land. And so we need to be conscious of that as we are moving forward, and we are going to pay especially homage to our Native American brothers and sisters here in the United States, in Canada and beyond. We live on stolen land. We took that land from them forcibly, and we killed them because of genocide and all of that. So that's first and foremost. I'm also I'm a historian, and I focus on lost narratives, and mostly lost narratives with female perspectives. So for me, looking at how has representation of Native American peoples in media changed over time is a really big one for me. So it's especially prevalent to know that first, when we talk about Stargate SG-1, this is premiering in the third season in 1999. So it is very 20 years ago. So a lot of it is definitely not going to be the best, but I will say that Stargate SG-1 is going to be doing some good with it. They do explain. So Daniel Jackson, who is here next to a totem pole, he explains that totem poles are telling a story. And this particular totem pole is showing how the native people of the planet that they're on overcame and defeated the oppressive Goa'uld, who are a parasite species, and they're Jaffa henchmen. And so the top of this totem pole has a raven symbolized, and this gives Daniel Jackson the
insight
that these people are likely descended from the Coast Salish people, which are from the Northwest Territories. So these are people that are coming from areas of Portland, Oregon, up into Washington, and then the coast of Vancouver, BC, and all of that. So we have these Coast Salish people, and it's really important that he talks about that, because totem poles are not seen anywhere other than the Northwest Territories. Mm-hmm. They're created out of cedar. They're meant to tell stories, and it's not that old adage, low man on the totem pole. It's not necessarily a bad thing. And that's part of the reason I didn't really like the totem pole in Stargate, because low man on the totem pole, they say it's a bad thing, but really that totem poles tell a story, and they can tell a generation. And so that bottom part of that generation and that totem pole is going to be that founding member of a family. And so as you move up and up and up, that's going to be telling you the generations. And so low man on the totem pole is not a bad thing to be. It just means you established your family and you are a leader within your family. And so I that's really important to me. If we go to the next page, this is Takane, and he is one of the indigenous people, and you can see on his chest that's going to be a raven emblem, and that's going to be for his god that he follows. And they're following multiple gods. They're polytheistic in a sense, because they follow their multiple gods. And I can't remember the raven's name for right now, but I do know they also have a wolf that they follow named Takaya. And he is like, hey, your friends were making war on the mountain, and that's why they went and disappeared. So it's not necessarily the Native American representation of being constantly told, hey, your land is our land, we're going to take it from you. This is Native Americans are finally taking back their ownership. They have the right to the land. They settled here in this area, and so they get rid of the people. And I think that's really powerful to hear. But then you also see later on in the episode a bit of this manifest destiny that comes through, because the planet that they're on has this resource that the Stargate Command really needs, because that resource is really hard to find. And they're gonna, no matter what, when the Coast Salish people who are nomadic, yes, Avatar, yes, they're like, hey, well, they're gonna migrate for farming and everything like that. So how about we just go, and they're migrating, we'll just go steal it from them. And Daniel Jackson and the big guy at the end is Richard Dean Anderson's character, Jack O'Neill, is like, yo, haven't we been down this road before? We can't just go out and steal this out from underneath them. And the Air Force leadership is like, yeah, we can, and we will. And they're like, hold up, no. And I think that's really good, because so often we see this military figure is like, hey, we're going to do what we want to do no matter what. And it's nice to see someone is step back. And it's members of the military. Jack O'Neill is a member of the military, and he's like, maybe not.
That's amazing.
And we find out later on that the gods that Takane is following is actually aliens with gills on their face, but they decided to take on the shape of the gods because they were afraid they would be persecuted by the Native American people because they looked different. And
would this be Thor and his people?
No.
Okay.
That's so interesting that you said that they thought that they would be persecuted by Native Americans, because Native Americans have been receiving people from different worlds and different countries for over 500,000 years. And never was it to the extent of what happened when Columbus got here. That intersection has been happening a long time, and no one looked at anybody differently. They received them. It was mostly a relationship of trade and exchange. It was nothing to the capacity of what happened when Columbus got here. So that's very interesting that you said that.
It was a fascinating, like, there were still some parts of this episode like that I don't like, but it's still in my top 10 of my favorite episodes because it is Stargate SG-1 has 212 episodes to it. It spanned 10 seasons and has 212 episodes. One of those episodes focuses on Native American gods and goddesses and or Native American culture. And this is the only one. Primarily it's Egyptian, as well as there's some King Arthur mythology thrown in there. And then you get some ancient African and Hindu and all of that. So you get all of these other gods, but like the representation that comes in with this episode, it's season 3 of a 10-season series, and you don't get another Native American representation. And I honestly hate that. Like, I love this show, but I do have some issues with it. And it definitely grew as seasons went on. And we saw that, but like, there's still like, we see it in media all the time, is that there's always very little roles available, and then they start to grow and they start to grow and they start to grow and they start to grow. And that like leads to, we get Prey, where and I have a feeling that's what you're going to be talking about, Mayhem. Maybe.
Don't call me out. Don't call me. That's not about me, okay? It's not about me.
Mayhem, Mayhem's right here. Hold on.
But we start seeing this increase in representation, and it's following this typical line of, first you get the stereotypical Native American character, or you get the stereotypical gay character, or the stereotypical black character in a TV show, and they're made to be a joke, or they are a villain, and then they start to increase, and you start getting this awareness, and all of a sudden they're now getting major roles, and they start having these major leaps and bounds for visibility on media. And like, I see that,
and still it's not exact representation.
It's not exact representation.
That is, oh, ding, I like you, Allie. So yeah, let's go ahead.
But no, so it's like, I did Stargate, and the next one I'm doing is like, I'm talking about Motherland Fort Salem, and you can go to that next one. Motherland Fort Salem, first off, the first 2 seasons, we see no real Native American representation. And it isn't until the 3rd season is set up where the main characters are on the run, and they have to go to a period of space. And if you actually go to the next picture, that's going to be the one that I want to talk about. In the United States, for Motherland Fort Salem, it is in this alternate reality that instead of burning the witches at the stake, the American government and witches make a deal that the American witches that are born, women who are born a witch, will serve in the United States Army. But instead of moving and all of that, in the forced migration of people, they give them this big giant piece of land, which is not that giant when you compare it to the whole of the United States, dedicated to the session. And the session is like this safe space, but it is ruled by the tribal leaders. And that is that picture that you see. And they are representatives of Native American groups from all over the place. So we have representatives from the Salish, which is Northwest Coast. We have representatives from the Shoshone, which is Northeastern Woodlands. So people of the Longhouse. You get the Lakota, which is going to be your Great Plains. And so that's going to be the area that I live in right now. I live in former Great Plains Native American territory.
Can I say something? I don't see Oklahoma there.
Exactly.
That's the point.
This is an alternative history. You see, Texas doesn't have things cut off. Dakota is not North Dakota and South Dakota. Idaho is shaped different. It's not Washington State and Oregon. It is Oregon. You don't get a Washington State. And Virginia is like twice as like 4 times as big as it would be in our United States. The session is in states that we have Iowa's not there.
Missouri's not there.
Yeah. And so this whole area, really, when you look at this whole area, if you were to look at the crossover of Native American lands, you're going to get Great Plains, and you're going to get the western part of the northeastern woodlands and the western part of the southeastern woodlands. And then you don't get any of the southwestern Native American area, the California region.
Or none of the southeast. None of the southeast.
No southeastern woodlands, no northeastern woodlands.
What?
You get very little of that subarctic region of Native American people, no Arctic regions. But we have people from those regions. Like there is a representative from the Muscogee Nation, which is southeastern woodlands. You have a representative from the Cherokee Nation, southeastern woodlands. The Ojibwe, which is subarctic. The Lakota, Great Plains, Shoshone, northeastern woodlands, and then the Salish, which is the northwest coast. And so you see a lot of these prominent groups, but they're still missing because we don't have any of the Great Basin. We don't have any of the Plateau. Right. We don't have any of the Southwestern. And the Southwestern is where you're going to get our Navajo. You're going to get the Pueblo. You're going to get Apache and all of that. So we don't have those groups that are represented in this, but they are still showing that Native American, this session group is ruled primarily by a Native American tribal council called the Council of the Great River. Okay. And it follows the Mississippi River.
Yeah, I was going to say that being somebody that's from Missouri, I noticed that it went along the lines of the Mississippi River. Interesting.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you for that knowledge bomb. Are you finished by any chance, Ali? Do you got some more stuff to drop on us? Because it looks like you got some more stuff to drop on us.
The Motherland Fort Salem did a lot that helped see a lot of this, because the tribal, which is the previous picture, Mr. Reggie, the tribal council is made up all of those actors that are portraying members of the Great River Council are First Nations related people. So they are members of First Nation tribes.
And still they don't look like the real representation.
No, they don't. They look very, very toned down. And they're not when you're watching the episode, they have little accoutrements. They have jewelry that relates to the various Native American cultures that they're in, but they're taking on this very 21st century, almost like this civilized tribes look.
So isn't that colonistic?
Isn't that familiar?
It is. And so you get it's leaps and bounds that they're getting these people who are related to Native American tribes, but I would love to see Native American tribes being represented fully and properly.
I just want to expand on that. As we are here in this episode to obviously pay homage to Native American Awareness Month, we are going to point out the good, and we're also going to point out the bad, because as with any nation, any culture, any dialect, you need to be represented in mass media. And arguably the United States primarily has one of the biggest media reaches for the world. Granted, we're not the only ones. It's very important that we represent the people that live here. And we've had great successes in doing that. You have Black Panther, Crazy Rich Asians, those great movies that show that there are people who can act just as good, who are just as interesting, who are represented and fully showing their culture. But a lot of the times too, to kind of get to that point, what we don't do is we don't address past crimes, past history. We don't apologize and do better. So
it's that whole forget it. It happened so long ago. Just don't worry about it.
And unfortunately, maybe there'll be an actor, an actress, or a couple of people who make it, who are very big, and we kind of put all of the success of the nation, of the culture on them, and there's only but so much they can do, especially when they're kind of being, I'll use the word jerked, but that's not, they're kind of be limited in what they can do sometimes, Sometimes they're not. They're just like, I'm rich, I'm good. But then other times they're really trying to push people of their tribe, of their descendants, of their culture together, and push them forward. And it's only about so much they can do. So if you are someone watching this and you feel attacked, don't be. We're trying to educate you and trying to show that there are representations there that aren't up to standard and need to be better, especially for popular shows like Stargate, which had 212. I'm not Stargate. Yeah, Stargate.
Yeah,
212,
Stargate.
212 episodes, 10 seasons, and one episode addressing Native Americans. Go ahead, Reggie. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying one.
Just
I'm
one.
agreeing.
Yeah. So that's inexcusable, but it was dated for the time. So I'm gonna stop right there. I'm gonna let Ali go. I do apologize for going on that little rant, Ali. Please finish.
No, and that's the thing. It's like we definitely need to see a growth in representation and proper representation, not just representation for the sake of representation,
Right.
but we need proper representation that takes into society and culture of these people that we want to show.
Right.
And too often we don't show who these people are and who they really like. Who are they? We know very little. And I'm going to tell you right now, as a historian who has to teach middle schoolers Native American cultures, and I am talking as a white woman to them, I will say, yes, do I have Native blood in me? Do I know what tribe I am? No, I don't. Because that part of me was erased because my family did not acknowledge it for so long. And so I don't know what tribe I am. I know it's probably from the Great Plains because a lot of my family is from the Kansas and area that, but it could also be from the southeastern woodlands because I had family in there, or the northeastern. I have no idea because my family erased that part. They didn't want to acknowledge it because to them it was better to be white.
But can I just say that they might not have had a choice in the matter?
Exactly.
We can have a long conversation about this and a whole nother show about that. But a lot of us died in the American census, and a lot of us died just on face value because at the time when the census takers were taking census, when they saw you, and if you looked like you had 1% black blood in you, they marked you as black. Right. When you could have very well have been Native, And so the thing is that a lot of us are destroyed, and it was systematically so and meant intentionally because they did not want us to do that. And you were right. It was better to be white or even better to be black than to be Native, because once we were marched over into Oklahoma, especially if you're talking about the 5 civilized tribes, and I don't say that very lightly. I don't like that term, but that's what we have to call them. But yeah, we have to call them. Anybody that was marched over there or did refuse to go and stayed with their land wherever in the Southeast, they had to identify as something else, because if it was known that they had not marched over to Oklahoma, they were hunted. Their skin, their heads were taken. This is why we don't use that term redskin, because people have bounties on their heads where they were taking skins of Native men, women, and children and putting a price on it. $100 for a male, $75 for a female, and maybe $50 for a child. This is what people had to face. And it was due to eliminate people. But there are so many of us out there that have Native blood, that are still Indigenous, that should be reconnecting.
Well, and that's also like California was home to over 300 Native American tribal groups. 300. Like, I could also be from that because I have a lot of family in California.
Yes.
But a lot of those groups were also lumped into the bigger groups around them, but
because they were too small to be numbered. You're absolutely right.
Too small. And then in places like Texas or New Mexico, it was better to be labeled as a Mexican than it was Native American. Because if you were labeled as a Mexican, you had a little bit more rights. And it's very interesting to see that you have to shut off or cut off that part of your own history because it is just better to be the other and lose that part of your history. And I hate that so much.
Unfortunately, and a lot of us would attribute it to racism, but in actuality, it was about land. So to say that you were Native meant that they had to cede land to you, give land to you, the United States government. But a lot of people, were denied that. And we can go into a whole nother discussion about the Dawes Roll. But the thing is that there's so much deep history here and so much of a decolonization that we have to do now that we know the truth.
I had to do a lot of that when I started doing a lot of my historian work. Like, I will tell you right now, my focus in history is going to be Norse history. I focus on Norse history, and I go super hard on Norse history. I have it tattooed on me all over the place. But, like, I wish I had done a little bit more investigation into Native American history, because I did not do enough.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Thank you both, because you guys just dropped some major bombs on us. Leslie, obviously, we're gonna have you back to definitely, or maybe we'll be featured on the show to definitely talk more about that. I do want to move forward because I do want, more importantly, Leslie to talk. I don't have to talk. But Ali, I want to make sure that you are finished with your picks. Are you finished, or do you have another?
Done. I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. For the first time on the show, you knocked it out the park already. Thank you thank you very much, and thank you for being an influencer of the next generation. You know, we need peoples like you, teachers like you, to kind of teach the younger generation the truth, or as much as the truth. And I would argue that the fact that you, knowing that you may come from a native tribe, is a great start. You may not know the full truth, but that's a great way to finding it. So as long as you don't deny it, like Leslie said, you're not deleting people that were here long before us, a nation that was here before. Excuse me. So I think that's amazing. I'm next. I'm going to say this really quickly. I want to keep the floor open. My name is Comanche Mayhem. It's in reference to the Predator movie known as Prey. Really quickly, if you don't know what Predator is, that's not it, but I'm going to go into that. So really quickly, this movie came out, and I was excited, but I didn't expect much from it. Okay, we had some really great Predator movies. We had Predator, arguably Predator 2. I don't know what the Predators, which was amazing, and then anything else in between, I don't recognize.
No Alien versus Predator?
I read the books, which was made better, so I can't get it. I read the books. Was it Dark Horse Publications, if I'm not mistaken? I forgot who actually wrote
Dark
the
Horse,
books.
I think that's it.
Yes. So like I read the books. The books were way better, to a point where I forgot the woman's name. She went to the Predator world and sparred with them. And she had to fight for her claim to the right to the name of the god of the Predator that gave her the
right. Oh, right. That's dope.
Yeah, I'm so much better. Trust me. If you give me the chance to watch the Alien vs. Predator books, it's amazing. I'll see if I can find it for you. So that's when I saw the thing. I was just like, meh. I thought this was a cheap Hollywood knockoff. I thought this would have been a cheap Hollywood way for them to kind of we'll do something to kind of get the masses to go. And you know what? This was amazing. This movie was amazing. It captured first of all, let me make sure I get her name correctly. It's Mid Thunder, but I forgot her actual first name, who is the main actress there, Amber Mid Thunder, from the Comanche tribe. That's her brother, I believe, or the friend of the brother, if I'm not mistaken. They do such a great job at representing these people. I wanted to find more. Obviously, they don't tell everything, but they talk about the rites of passage, kind of like the roles that are played. And then here comes the Predator. Now, it's arguable that right now, those seem to be a more basic, I don't want to use that word basic, Predator tribe. We don't know if it's the same tribe that Arnold Schwarzenegger meets, because this is a prequel movie. We don't know if it's a different type of predator, so meaning that there are different types of predators, like are different types of humans. But the tribe goes against, there are Frenchmen that go against it as well, and she proves her mettle, she proves her worth. It's just a great homage to the power and just ingenuity of the First Nations people. This is arguably the best Predator movie, and I think it needs to be talked about more. Unfortunately, due to COVID and it being released on Hulu, I don't think it got to see the numbers and the popularity it would have had it been released in theaters. Really quickly, before I move on,
I do have some comments about this movie.
Sure.
So there are a couple of things that I asked, being somebody who's a big fan of the movie. I can ask you about the gun that was presented to her at the end, or the gun that she gave to her, and it's the same gun that was given to Danny Glover in. Right. But I want to know how it managed to get to that person, if it was in her hands, how it managed to get to Danny Glover. That was very confusing to me, because I felt like they went kind of off.
Mhm.
You know, after defeating one of these warriors, there's always someone watching from above because
Mhm.
it's a hunt, a rites
Yes.
of passage for the
Right.
predator, and why someone who is of a higher and we also know that most of the predators are of a higher class. They're like of a royal ranking.
Okay.
So how is it that
Okay.
they were not watching this from above
Mhm.
and not giving her accolades for defeating him? Then
So
there was some things, and there were some things in here too that were not correct. In indigenous cultures, maybe the
mhm.
Native American cultures, the woman is considered a matriarch of the family and the wise man of the family. Before they went on battles, any males went on battles and everything, the woman was the one who actually it was a extremely matriarchal society. So
Mhm.
there's a scene in there that I thought was written as cliched, and that was the fight scene between her and the warrior that was supposed to take her home, and
Mhm.
how he beat her up so badly. Because I'm going to tell you, the two males that were standing next to him would not have allowed that to happen. He would have got his butt kicked.
Okay.
Because despite that, women had much more pull within indigenous society
Mm.
than what was represented there.
Okay. All right. I can't answer the second one, but I definitely can try to answer the first one. I think they're world building, and since they're world building, there's going to be they do like to do it in threes, but maybe a second, if not third movie, which explains how the gun that was presented to her reaches Danny Glover. You know, it could be one of because once again, it seems to be a basic or previous. I don't want to say previous or not as evolved version of Predator that we get, and it's possible that the rules of the game and of the hunt change. We don't know too much about the history. We don't know too much about the rules of the game. Even in the books, which was amazing, they don't give us too much. I believe they're world building, which is smart. Shout out to you guys. And she's gonna have the gun, and hopefully nothing happens to her. But I think at that point it's gonna reach Danny. It's gonna reach the predator and reach back to Danny Glover. But we'll see. That's the only thing I can honestly think of. But it was a great nod, obviously to Predators too. And I think everybody had that question, like, how did that gun get here? Also, I want to see her come back and see what she does. Really quickly because
Same. I want to see her come back. I
Mhm.
do think that they're gonna hopefully that it did get enough viewership on Hulu
Yes,
that Hulu is seeing that this could be an investment for them. Because you do see near the end, you see the lightning in the background, so that is
right.
representative of more coming.
Yes.
So I'm hoping to see her take on that more matriarchal role and taking on that leadership role. Hey, she's the only one that actually defeated that predator, so she knows the skills to employ when it comes to going after them when they come down again. So I'm hoping that we see that. I
Mhm.
do love that they released it also in the Comanche language. I think that's super
Yes.
important
Ooh.
Yes.
and was
Yes.
amazing for
Yes.
them. I will say, I wish that they had only released it in the Comanche language with English subtitles
Like they
I
because
did.
agree. I
that
agree.
would
I
have
think it
been
kind of took
a
away
thousand
from it.
percent better because this is being told in 1700s, Great Plains, United States of America.
Mhm.
Not even at that point, 1700s are not part of the United States of America. This is pre-colonial, starting colonial America. We are seeing this, and if it had been released only in the Comanche language, I
Mhm.
think that it would have had a lot bigger of a sense of ownership of for the Comanche people. And
Can
I
I?
think that they lost
So,
that.
so I want to just say this:
Mhm.
within Native country, this was a huge thing for us.
Right.
It was really good, and I do know that there probably will be a continuation of these storylines, but uh, it was a huge success in Native country.
I think it was Apocalypto by Mel Gibson, directed, co-written, whatever, that had the Mayan language spoken throughout the
Mm-hmm.
film for the most
Mm-hmm.
part. I think if they had done that, that'd have been amazing. I do agree with you there. And maybe that lightning was the elders looking on. We never, you know what I'm saying, Leslie? So maybe we'll find out what happens. I do want to move on really quick because I do want you to speak, Leslie. Uh, I found some information that blew my mind in 2016 of November up until now, there was an Indigenous Comic Con, and it was held in.
What?
Yes. Give me 1 second. Let me look on my notes on the screen real quickly. There's a Facebook group for it. It's if you guys are interested. 1 second. One second. And it's they have it. It was featured in the National Hispanic Cultural Center. That's where it was held at. I'm not sure if it's held at continuously there, but the Indigenous Comic Con, what's this? 2016, November 18th. It was Albuquerque, New Mexico. This is the first one, and it looks amazing. I don't know if I'm frozen right now because I can't. Oh, there I am.
No, you're
So
good.
okay. It was amazing. The last one was in 2021. I'm still researching. Can we just kind of go through the pictures a little bit?
Of
And
course.
one of the big things that I got is they are just into geekdom as anyone else, and arguably they do it better. Like, look at that! Look at that spread of Star Wars! Like, oh my god! Like, so this was amazing. I wanted to. I wanted to show appreciation and acknowledgement of this really quickly because this was dope. I didn't know this was a thing. I am glad it is a thing, and arguably for 2023, if they decide to do it again, I want to go there and and celebrate. That said, I'm finished. Thank you for allowing me to do my picks. Come on, they even got wrestling. Like, come on. All right. Les, it is your turn. Thank you for being very patient with me.
You know what? Honestly, I'm so unprepared for this. So
Mhm.
I think what I actually
Mhm.
put. Yes,
Yes.
I just signed up on it on all of my Facebook pages.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm definitely I'm with you on that, Mayhem. Next time.
No problem. No problem.
So I think that when I sent to Mia is something that
Mhm.
is currently showing right now, that is I'm very excited about, and that is a show called Spirit Rangers, which a friend of mine, Joey Clift, is writing for that show. And I remember when it was in production, when they were talking and looking for writers and representation in
Mhm.
the room to actually write and to show this. So basically, they use Native American voice actors. It's a storyline talking about the from the Chumash perspective about these three young heroes, you know, and it also goes into native storytelling, native culture, all of these things. But I really think you all should check it out because the people in the writing room are natives,
Yes.
and there's more to come as a result of this show. Now, I don't, I've watched the show, but this is definitely for children, I'm going to say. So, but I think it's a good way to teach younger children about the true nature of native culture. So, but it's a
Mhm.
really good show. Shout out to Joey Cliff out there, who I'm going to be seeing in a couple of weeks. So I just really like that. Um, but these are all the voice actors and stuff. But I think what would be really interesting is to see who is behind the writing room. So
Yes.
you do have some representation of one being Mr. Wes Studi in the middle right there, is the Academy Award winning Wes Studi. But there's also some new representation,
Mhm.
you know, there. So definitely check it out. Really good show, and I'm very proud of what they're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
And it's beautifully drawn, color. It's a great little show.
It's on Netflix. I saw that little Netflix
Yeah,
Junior.
yeah,
Okay. Oh, that's amazing. It is drawn. All right. I get to put my little lady there and see
yeah,
what she
yeah.
likes it.
And you get to know about spirit animals in
Okay.
this. Which is we have a culture about spirit animals, spirit
Yes.
totems, things like that.
Yes.
But basically from the Chumash tribe perspective.
Okay. All right. And you have another pick, or was that it?
I think I might have sent something else. I was going to talk about Prey, but you
Pray.
already did.
Oh,
Yeah.
I had I
No,
known,
it's
I wouldn't
okay.
have thought. I wouldn't have opened my big mouth. I would let
No,
you
no,
take
no,
it
no, it's
off.
okay. But I do want to talk about it because I
Okay.
feel like
Mhm.
even in this film, and I'm probably going to get my hand slapped for saying this, you all are still seeing a whitewash representation.
Mm.
Um, because that tribe, that Comanche tribe, is, and my Plains brothers and sisters are beautiful people, but y'all, I only saw the mama who was dark skin, because that's a dark there. The people,
Mm.
when colonizers came here to America, they were not pale skinned people that they saw here. So
Mm.
I am happy that we're speaking the language. I'm happy to see that, but I also want to see authenticity
Mm,
and representation. Because what you're seeing right now, the majority of the people here have been infiltrated by Europeans.
okay.
And I know I'm going to get in trouble for saying that.
You know what?
Nah.
I think
But
I okay. Go ahead. I'm
but
sorry.
I do want to see a rainbow of colors because we as Native people are
Mm,
a rainbow of colors, you know? So I think we're happy to be in the forefront of storytelling, but we still have some trouble actually talking about the issues within our communities regarding intersectionality.
fair.
And I don't care, it could be black, white, whatever. We still have issues discussing that because it's ugly in some aspects.
Okay. I think maybe mm, coming weeks we should talk about it, dive into it a little further. I think you all did a great job, especially you, Leslie, into putting things into perspective. You know, still a great movie, but we got to
Yeah.
call out. We still got to call out what it was. So, Amber, I thought was a great actress for this movie. I think
No,
she
I thought
really
she
did.
was great too.
Mhm.
I'm happy to see this representation. I really
Yes,
am. But
yes.
I also want
Hmm.
people, and we have a young group of people writing and
Hmm.
stuff like that who are trying to change old ideologies and old colonized mentality and making everybody know that we are a group of people that have been intersected for years, and showing true representation. I think they're going to get there eventually. And
Yes.
they have to lead with this, but I want to see it.
Okay. Les, thank you very much. Ali,
You're
thank you very
welcome.
much. Reggie, meh. Um, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We've had some really great moments. We had some really great eye-opening moments as we come to wind down the show. This is National Native American Awareness Month. Excuse me. Please be sure to educate yourselves. Don't just take our words for it. Our words for it. There are different nations that you can definitely look into. It would appear that we have some viewers who are still looking through the episode. Oh, thank you, Ray. Appreciate it. Uh, Les, obviously, let's start with you. Where can we find you? What's your social media? What are you talking about? Please let us know.
So you can find me at Cliff Dive Productions on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and now on Twitter.
Yes.
I have a media company called Native Brown Media that talks to the intersection that we were discussing this evening. And next year, we've on hiatus right now, but part of Cliff Dive Productions, we do a show called The Tingling Tea, which Mayhem is one of our co hosts on that show, where we talk about all things strange, supernatural, and spooky. We
Yes.
are on a hiatus, but we'll be back in January. And, follow me on anything. I'm an actor. So I do work here in New York, but you can check me out on IMDb, check out some of the films that I've done. Um, and that's it. And check out some of my shows that I produce specifically on Native American culture, history, intersectionality, and truths.
I just want to really jump in really quick and say Les is an awesome person.
Oh,
Right?
No. Hear me out.
Right?
Hear me out. Hear me out. She comes off like a warm slice of toast, but this woman is a whole loaf, okay? A hot, fresh loaf. And I don't mean that in any other way than that she's the new hotness. When you find out some of the things she's done and some of the stories I've gotten to experience and listen to, it's amazing.
oh,
Definitely
thanks.
check her out. Shout out to Augie who couldn't make it. I would say her shotgun, shotgun guy, of course. These guys are amazing. When the tingling comes back, I'll definitely link you guys so you can definitely find out. Ali, what's your social media? What are you up to? What's going on? Hey, hey, hey.
So basically, I you can find me on Twitter at this handle. It's AliCT6.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much going to be everything for me. I'm not
Okay.
as active on Twitter right now, just
Okay.
because I'm not exactly thrilled with what's going on. But
Yes.
you can definitely catch me on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm friends with both Raw and Mia on Facebook and all
Yeah.
of that. I teach middle schoolers for a living, so
Yes.
I get to deal with their shenanigans every single day.
We got a teacher and a teacher. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate you both. I'm gonna skip over you, Reggie. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna just do this real quick. Yes, goodbye. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining the 4-Letter Nerd. I am your host. I see what you did there. I'm your host, Mayhem Mike, Comanche Mayhem. As I couldn't find the actual word, but I'm going to look into it next week. Join us next week as we talk about all things geek, nerdy, and whatever. This is a Hyrule Geekic Unlimited production. Big shout out to Bergie and Kat. You guys are killing it. Whatever.
Rhode Island Comic Con.
Bergie!
Until next time, guys, peace. Deuces. Reggie, you want to roll that outro clip?
Oh,
no?
Are you giving me the power? Do I have the
I'm
power?
giving you the power. Reggie, don't make me kick you out. Don't make me kick you out for this.